In this video, I'm going to teach you guys how to run a profitable e-commerce business on Shopify and spend $0 on ads. Yes, you heard that, $0 on ad spend. I'm going to walk you through all the steps of what I've done in my career, the business that I run now, and how you guys can do the same thing. It's not a gimmick, it's not a scheme. This isn't get rich quick, but this is a scalable way of creating an organic growing store using Shopify as your e-commerce platform and either drop shipping or housing physical goods, how you attack the business, how you grow organically, and how can you build a business at $0 cost. And you might ask yourself, why do you want to spend $0 on ads when ads can scale your business? Well, most of us don't have thousands or tens of thousands of dollars to test businesses on. And one of the beauties about starting a business with $0 in ad spend and targeting your business to grow that way is you don't have to spend any money out of pocket and you don't have to take a very big risk when you're starting your e-commerce business. You might ask yourself, why should I listen to this guy? One of the e-commerce businesses that I've been running for the last 3 years, I have to date spent $0 on ads and I've been profitable since the first month. Before we get too far into the video, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. I give you tons of tips about how to make money, how to run businesses, and how to do everything scalable. I'm never gonna sell you anything. I'm gonna tell you the real and what other people aren't talking about businesses. And you're not listening to some 20-year-old that has made millions of dollars by luck. I'm an engineer. I've been in the business for a long time. I've been in the consulting of small businesses for a long time. This channel is all about giving you guys a wealth of knowledge. So if you're like me, there are times where you're sitting in front of your computer, wherever you are at times, and you're like, I need to make more money. You're trying to figure out, how do I make more money? Everyone is selling Shopify, e-commerce, drop shipping. We've seen it for years, especially since COVID. And sure, people are making millions of dollars, but people aren't talking about the risk and what it takes to start these businesses. Fortunately, there is a way to start an e-commerce store with $0 of ad spend. And if you don't really understand the premise of selling stuff online, for the most part, to sell things online, you need to market to somebody. You need to pay to get in front of them. Very few gurus online are preaching or talking about an organic growing business where you have $0 of ad spend before you're at a scalable number, because they don't have the expertise or skills or the mindset to get there, and we're going to talk about that in today's video. I'm going to give you guys a quick overview of what I've been doing, where I've been successful. You can skip the next 60 seconds if you don't want to listen to that. I've been running multiple e-commerce stores over my life. In the last 3 years, starting in about 2019, I launched a specific business where my goal was to grow it organically and spend $0 in ads because I didn't want to have the liability of ad spend. I also wanted to have the freedom to target products that didn't necessarily have a 50 or 60% margin on the product cost, because I want to be able to work with other products where I don't have to factor in a 30%, 40% cost of advertising into every product sold. So I started the journey by analyzing communities, understanding the market, finding niches, finding holes, and supplying product into those holes. And when you have a problem and people are actively looking for a solution, inject your solution. And if your solution truly solves the problem that you're trying to solve, you're gonna make money, and that's exactly what I did. I found an array of products. I actually have over 50 products that I have manufactured myself that I'm now selling to the communities that I work with, and I actually now retail and drop ship tens of thousands of products that, it's a kind of a limitless system. Those are a little bit less, but I still don't spend any money advertising those because I have customers coming in through my problem that I'm solving. Okay, so less about me. What can you do if you want to start a business and you don't have that much money and you want to test products, right? Not every product that you're going to go for works. Every guru will tell you this just in general, but what they don't tell you is through each iteration of testing a product, you need to spend a certain amount on your ads and you need to run it for a certain amount of time. They hit the right product after 2 or 3 iterations when they show you on these YouTube videos, on their courses, but in reality, it takes 10 to 50 products, depending on how much time you're researching the market and doing all the back end of what you really need to do to find a successful product. So look, if you want to go through that process and not empty your bank account, what you can do is spend more of your time up front and understand a product and less of your money in trying to sift through as many products as possible. So step number 1 is you need to find a niche. You need to find a community that is all about something, right? It could be about cars. Now, not just any car, a specific platform. It could be photography or a specific camera. It could be Zoom microphones, which are just plugged into me right now. That's what you're hearing through. It could be lighting. It could be anything. You're going to find a community that has between 50 and 150,000 people in it. You don't have to be an expert. It could be something you're passionate about. You might just find yourself on Facebook looking at different groups and trying to figure out, where is there a Facebook community that has multiple groups that solve it? So let's say we're in cameras for a second and you want to attack the camera niche. the first step, and we're going to use this as a hypothetical, you could choose any niche you want, but you need to find a niche between 50 and 150,000 owners of that product, or they're in that hobby or whatever it is. Cars, it's more of a product. Cameras or photography is more of a hobby. And you're going to get yourself into that community and just spend some time on forums, on Reddit forums, on Facebook groups specifically, Discords, and you're just going to immerse yourself in the community. Then what you're going to try to do is you're going to try to identify common wants or common problems. If you spend about a week in these groups, you're going to find posts constantly being repeated. I'm going to draw a quick example from a automotive side. People, if you are, let's say you're a Subaru WRX owner or an STI owner, people constantly ask, what is the best way to hang an exhaust? Because the exhausts hang low on those cars. If you have an exhaust hanger, there's an easy way to solve a problem there. So you're going to spend time in these groups, in these communities, and figure out what a problem is. Then you're going to go online and you're going to solve that problem by finding a product. And so your next step is, once you've figured out the problem, you're going to test the solution. Your two options here. You can either drop ship a solution. I'm not a huge fan of drop shipping. I'm going to make other videos that talk about it. Drop shipping has risks. It increases your customer interaction because you've got late shipping, damaged orders, you're not doing the quality control, or you can house some of the products yourself and have a lower cost risk. It's similar to taking the risk in ad spend, but then you're taking in physical product. So your risk is mitigated by the fact that you can sell that over time. Even if it's not an immediate, this is a winner, you'll still sell that off over time. So buy a couple $100. This is what I do. I'll buy a couple $100 of product. If it's a bigger ticket item, I will drop ship it and take the risk just to test the product. And then once I'm ready, whether I either set up the drop shipping outlet, you could use AliExpress, you could use other plugins through your Shopify account, or I've brought some product in through Alibaba, a bigger order, maybe 30 to 50 units. Then I'm going to create a landing page on my Shopify. And then once I have a great landing page, there's plenty of tutorials on how to do that. It doesn't have to be that great, because if your product solves enough of the problem, you don't have to play these games with conversion rates or anything like that. My website is not that great. I made it in 2019. I haven't had to change it. I have a 6.5% close ratio for people that put add stuff to their cart. 6.5% of them convert. The average in all of the e-commerce is 1.7%. I'm doing okay because I'm solving the problem. Once you have the product in your landing page, all you're going to do is you're going to start to slowly inject that link into these groups. Now, there is not, most of these groups are going to have bans against self-promotion and spam. So to start and test your product, you're going to message people and have conversations with people that are talking about the problem that you're facing, right? So cameras, let's think about an example with a camera. You might have something where an iPhone user wants to take a walking video and they're struggling with stabilization of their video, right? And they might be saying, I don't want to spend $300 on a gimbal, which is what a gimbal would cost. You're going to either drop ship something from AliExpress that's just a cheaper option, or you're going to source something from Alibaba and have an inventory of it. But what you're going to do here is you're going to attack, that problem alone is the problem of cost. My business is run completely on a cost model, meaning I just run at a cheaper price than all my competitors. They all sell it at, let's say their products are $30, I sell them at $20. It's enough to buy through me. It's essentially the same product, and I take their business. My margins are lower, I don't spend any money advertising, and I get more volume of sales. So cost could be the problem. You don't have to reinvent the wheel here. We're not inventing a product. You might, but you can just source something cheaper. And when you don't have to spend money on ads, your margins are higher than your competition if they're spending money on ads. So what you're going to do to start doing that conversion is you're going to build a community within that community to prove the product. You're going to start messaging people saying, oh, look, this is what I'm using. Does it solve your problem? And you're going to start slowly driving sales. Yes, you have to sell. This model includes your time. You're saving money. You're not spending money because you're putting your time in. Eventually, your time will disappear once you become an expert in the group, once you've spent some time, and then you can actually post your link to your site and say, look, I found a solution, or I offer a solution once you're at that stage, and check out my solution. It's cheaper than anyone else on the product. You might say, wait a second, that's spam, everyone's going to ban you. I'm telling you, they won't. Basically, you have to follow the steps of time and effort. You have to add value, right? If you add value, you build trust. After trust, people will trust your solutions, and then you will have a voice. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, think about every influencer that you listen to on YouTube. They've put their time in, they've added value, and you listen to them because of the social proof that other people are watching them. The same model exists in Facebook, Reddit, and Discord. Before you're like, your business isn't scalable, I'm doing tens of thousands of dollars of sales organically. And right now I'm doing zero outreach. I'm just letting my community out, like push my own product. I've become such an expert and such a voice that I've gotten the products in there, and then it's just this revolving cycle of a certain portion of my customers are so happy with their product and the fact that they paid so little of it, they're then reposting links into the products, and it's driving this cycle of sales. And as that snowball starts to get larger, obviously it's a snowball, so it gets larger and larger and larger. And I've got 3 years of analytical proof that that's possible. So as you're building the community, as you're building the trust, your product is going to start moving. Specifically, you're using Facebook groups, and we're not talking 3 or 4. You're in every single Facebook group possible. You want to be in a small niche, solving a small problem at first, and as you grow and you have more social proof and you have more of a voice, you can start spreading out and creating an umbrella, your spider web of sales. I know I'm moving 1,000,000 miles a minute right now, and I'm not skipping a bunch of steps, but I'm talking briefly about whole steps. The idea here is you don't want to get hung up on the iterations, right? You're picking a product, or you're finding a problem, and the problem is either a solution doesn't exist or the solution's too expensive. You're then taking your time and figuring out, how do I solve that? How do I make it cheaper? My rule is 20%. If you can't deliver the product at least 20% below what other competitors are selling at, it's not worth your time. A customer is going to trust the brand. But if there's over a 20% difference, they will take the risk at first until you have social proof. Once you're at that stage, then you are live and active and you are a salesperson. You're trying to build the initial snowball. You're speaking to people in comments. You're speaking to people in private messages. You're adding people as friends. If you want to be successful in a sales organization, you have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to take risks. It's like if you were a salesperson at a company, you're cold calling, you're doing all these things. You need to apply the same fundamentals. You need to put your time, because your time is free. When everybody is thinking right now, and if they're at this point in the video and they're saying my time isn't free, if you're building a business, your time is free. You're not physically spending your money. You may at one point be at a time where you can spend your money when you have 7 figures in the bank account and you want to spend $30,000 to test a product and really launch a business. You can go do that. But until you have that, your time is your time is your most valuable asset starting the company. Once you've got enough sales that your snowball exists, you need to then encourage your customers to promote your solution. That might sound complicated, but it's like, you get 10, 15 sales, you have a little bit more insulation, and then you tell somebody, hey, I'll give you 50% off if you just post that you received the product in the group after and where you received it from. You do that a couple times, your snowball starts to move. You increase and you increase. As your product increases that snowball, and that snowball starts to get larger and larger and larger, your amount of time per sale and per dollar becomes less and less and less, and all of a sudden your snowball is so large that you are then just supporting your product at a larger level. And I can tell you from proof, I've done this at multiple products, at multiple iterations within my company, within the business that I'm running, and each product, one after another, I get the snowball to a point where I can forget it, I can set it down, it's constantly rolling, and I'm on to the next product. It doesn't work with every product, but this is a way that I can test and launch products with spending $0, and I have very little risk exposure. So I know that I gave you a lot of information in this video, but I also probably didn't give you enough information. Hopefully I got you thinking, and I'll have more videos that target specific brackets of what we just talked about. But at the very least, you have the tools right now to go out and tackle the start of building a business with $0 in ad spend. Hopefully this was engaging. I'll have more videos to come, and we can talk about some of the specifics of building a sales organization and building this organic snowball of sales. Otherwise, have a great rest of the day and feel engaged and get out there and make some money. I'll see you guys later.